On this episode of AC Designs Garage, I'm going to show you how to buff a quarter panel on a 1932 Ford with a dual action Rupes polisher. Coming up. Alright guys, I'm going to give you a little rundown on some of the stuff we're going to use today. This is my little buffing bag I use. It's like one of the little construction bags you get at Lowe's to, like for electricians stuff. Works great for a buffing bag. You can put all your compounds and pads and stuff, but this is what we're going to use today. I really like it stuff. I'll put links in the description. I have a Amazon affiliate account. If you go click on these, it helps the channel out at no cost to you, but also it gives it a good place for you to find all this stuff in one spot. So I'll try to link all this stuff if y'all want to go check it out. This is what I call the magic sauce. I love this stuff. It's the extra cut M105, and this quarter panel right now, I've got it blocked to, we went from 1,000 to 1,500, 2,000, 2,500, and it's up to I think 3,000 on Trizac. You can buff up with this stuff right here 1,500 easy, but I like to go to at least 2,500 on it. Also, here's that polish I was telling you about. We're not going to use it today. This is the M205 polish. So you're going to need a bunch of microfiber rags. For the polish, I use the Rupes. They have a Rupes. I don't know how you really say it. I always mark mine too because you don't want to mix them up. But I use the foam for the polish, and then I have the microfiber I use to cut with. This stuff is awesome. I'll show you how to load it up. There's a certain way to load it up that really helps you get it good, because you want every one of these fibers right here to be loaded with compound, so it don't take near as long to do it. But it's got a little, you can buy these in different thicknesses. Like the ones you really need to cut, like on a flat surface, you'd probably want a little less cushion so you could really get down on it. But being around all these edges, this belt line, I want a little more cushion so we don't burn through edges. Right here's where the dual action really helps a lot, is on these edges like this, because I tell you, somebody that hasn't really buffed a car can get by with this versus a rotary machine. This dual action is a whole lot more forgiving, and I can buff this stuff up pretty quick. I mean, it's, especially if you get to a 2,500 or 3,000 grit, man, this stuff buffs up quick. I'll show you, and I'll tell you at the end how long it actually took me to buff this panel. You'll be surprised. A lot of people say, oh, it won't buff up as quick as a rotary, or it swirls it all up. But if you do this stuff right, it's a lot faster, a lot more forgiving. All right, guys, here's my polisher. This is the Rupes Bigfoot 21 DA dual action polisher. It's a dual action because it rotates this way and it also rotates this way. And these things, I love them. They're a lot easier to keep from cutting through and buffing through your paint. What I do is I like to put a mark, and you'll see it as I'm buffing. And you want it, because if you put too much pressure, like lean on the side or so, it won't do the spinning as it's doing the other action. And that's how you really get it to cut fast. You got to watch this mark and make sure this thing's always spinning. But with this model here, Portacable makes one. It's okay. It's a good bit cheaper. If you're going to do like one car or so, I'd say you could probably go with it. But this thing here, you can really put pressure on it, and it'll keep turning and actually do the dual action function, and it will buff really quick. I usually buff on like 3 to 4, depending. You get tight areas and stuff, you may want to drop it down some. But this thing's pretty impressive. It uses, I think it's a 6-inch pad. But what we do is use these, like I showed you before, these microfiber ones, and they're just Velcro. And when these get dirty, just take a little air hose and blow them off during the job and keep on trucking with it. So let's get this thing sauced up. I'm going to show you how to put the cutting compound on it. The way I've seen guys using it works really good. You want every one of these fibers loaded up with cutting compound. It just helps it. The more fibers you got loaded with that compound, the faster the stuff cuts. And you're going to be amazed how good this thing works. I really like it. I've probably buffed 10 cars, full custom paint job cars with this thing, buffed and polished. It turned out great. So let's get to buffing. All right, guys, what you want to do is just line your pad up the best you can. Just center it up. Like I said, it's Velcro, so if you don't get it right, you can a couple of hits on it. We're going to take the 105, shake it up real good. This ball's about empty. Hope I got enough for it. And I'm going to show you how you sauce this thing up. Now, you don't want to load this stuff up too thick, because it'll get all glazed over and it won't cut. When it stops cutting, you need to go back and clean your pad. Yeah, this ball's about empty. You just basically go around this much. I mean, that's about all for the first time. And you want to just kind of massage this stuff in because you want every one of those fibers loaded up. I take my fingernail to really dig that stuff down in there. And you get a good coating on it. Now, when we get ready to go buff, it's already like preloaded. So we get ready to go buff, I'll just do like 2 or 3 spots and put on there. And the awesome thing about this is it does not sling compound all over you. I may have a couple of spots on when I get done, but like a rotary will just cover you in this stuff. That's why the rest of this car is not really taped up, because it don't sling it everywhere like a rotary. So we're going to get this worked in real good. Always keep your microfiber on hand. Wipe your hands off. And I'm going to put a couple more drops and we're going to get the buffing on this quarter panel. And that's more than a couple, but that's pad was dry. You see it's got this little cushion here. I like these. These are probably a 1/4 inch thick, and it just gives a little bit of cushion, kind of like an interface pad on a DA if you were sanding. It just keeps from cutting the edges too bad. So, all right, one last thing I do like to do before we start polishing on this bear, because this has been, we cut this probably 2 months ago when I just color sanded it, but it's been sitting and we keep it covered up. It still gets trash on it. So get you some of these shop rags, and this is just regular old wax and grease silicone remover. Just get it, wipe it down real good, make sure there's no contaminants. Because one bad thing is if it gets one little piece of grit in here, it'll just put little worms, is what we call them, all over it. So make sure you clean it good before you start buffing. And the cool thing about doing this here is this basically is what it's going to look like until it evaporates. What it's going to look like when we go to buff it. So we do this a lot with primer and stuff when I'm doing body work. And get your primer and you'll wipe it down real good like this. And you can tell if there's a wave if you need to address a wave or anything in it. So we keep a lot of this wax and grease remover on hand. You can see it's kind of dirty, so we'll flip her over and we're just going right here on it. So. All right, let's get started buffing. All right, first thing I like to do is work small areas. I like to do maybe a 6-inch square, foot square or so, and get it worked. And you'll see me when I come up to this. Now, rotary, you really have to watch, but I can stick this up in there with that extra little bit. Just don't get on too much. It won't cut this edge or anything, but we're gonna work like a 6-inch to a foot square area and get it fully polished and wipe it off and check it out. So here we go. Oh, my settings I'm gonna be on about 3.5. So about 3.5, so about 3,400 RPMs is what it comes out to be. So here we go. Smear your compound around on here and if you'll pay attention to this mark, I'm going to roll it over on the edge where it'll stop, and you don't want to do that. You always want this mark going around. So just watch this black mark on here. Let me get you a little closer where you can see it. All right, watch this little black mark, and I'll try to stop it. See how it stops right there? You don't want that. Keep it level, keep it spinning, and it works a whole lot better. And what you're going to want to do is do like a 50% overlap. So we'll go here and we'll want to maybe a 75%. You just want to keep overlapping that area. And then we'll go back up and down on it. And then we'll come back and wipe this area off and you can see what we've done. can already start to see the reflection right over in here. It's pretty much polished up. It looks killer. We're gonna wipe it off, and I'll try to see if you can see the reflection. I'm using the GoPro today, so yeah, you can see a pretty good reflection. You can see my mug up in there. Let's see if we can get you any. See, it goes from there, the reflection goes away, and you can get back. The yellow don't show up as good as like black or something. Yeah, that's that quick. That's a couple minutes of buffing. All right, if you notice, now it's not caked up yet, so we're good to go. I'm gonna add just a little bit more, but after a while, when you're buffing like a whole car, it'll start getting real slick areas, like all this is glued down. That's when you want to clean it, because it'll stop cutting, it'll start smearing compound on here. But if you noticed, there's no junk throat everywhere from the buffer. It's doing good. So we're gonna put about 3 or 4 little dots, rub it in there, and we're gonna buff this lower area down here, and then we'll move on back. So here we go. Have to break out the new bottle for them. We usually keep 2 or 3 bottles of this stuff here because we use the mess out of it. Get her all massaged in good, wipe hands on the microfiber, and get back at it. As you can see right here, I'm just running up over its edge. Now, you don't want to camp out here overnight on it. It will eventually cut through, but as you can see, I just run right over the edges, these edges and stuff, and you really don't have to worry about it. And I always make sure, it's just another little tip, I do this while washing cars and everything. Never doing a circle in case you pick up any trash or anything, it'll swirl it. I try to always just wipe in straight lines. It don't matter which way you go. Just always try to wipe in a straight line if you can. It'll keep a lot of the swirls out. All right, guys, I got a light in it now so you can see the clarity of it. Let's see if we can read the warning labels on the light there. It's pretty clear. Like I said, the black cars are really impressive when you do this with it. Sorry for the noise outside. It's pouring down rain right now, so I don't know if you can hear it in here or not. Yeah, you can watch this. Just follow the light there, and when we get to the non-buff part, let me get back here. We get to the non-buff part, see how it just goes away? And how the clarity just picks up. Alright, now we get you something to see here, so if we can see the reflection in it. That's looking pretty good. Now we're going to run over his top real quick, and before we get that back corner, that way maybe you can see it come to life a lot better from this angle. Whoo-wee, that's looking good. You really got to make these top areas look good. Man, that is shiny. May have to get up in here with my smaller buffer like these tires. A lot of times you can get in and hand rub these little small areas like this, but I try to get all I can with that big buffer because it just makes life a lot easier. Probably real time, by the time I'm done with just this quarter pounder, you're probably looking at 20 minutes, which I don't think is too bad to take it from dull 2500, 3000 grit up to full shine. Let's take a closer gander at her. That thing looks like plastic. You can see when you go up here to where it hadn't been buffed above the belt line. We'll buff it here real quick, but then it just goes to that nice plasticky look. Down here's where it's going to get a little tricky, so we're going to be rocked up on the edge a little bit. You just got to be careful. If this tire was off, it'd be a little easier. I could get down in here, and we may, when we go to the final buff, I may take that tire off, but we'll try to get best we can for right now. This is the little buffer I was talking about. Let's see if I can get it up here where you can see it. It's a central pneumatic. It comes from Harbor Freight. These things are great. You can buy these little kits with these little foam pads and stuff. Now these things sound like a garbage disposal run, and these are not the, they make better ones than this, but I think this Harbor Freight model is like 40 bucks. But like I said, it gets down real nice in these areas. You can roll it down. Like I said, it does sling stuff everywhere, so I'm gonna have to take the car up, and that little bit of boring stuff, you guys know how to do it anyway. So I'll take the car up and do this later on. But I did want you to see that this is a nice little tool to have in your arsenal. If you had that Rupes Bigfoot 21 and one of these, I mean, we done the whole chassis. Actually, the underside of the floor of this car has been cut and buffed, so this whole car is just color sanded and buffed, and it's turning out good. Hopefully before long, Daddy will be cruising her down the road. So, all right, guys, give you one last overview of the quarter pound that we done. Like I said, it looks pretty good. Like I said, no more time. There's a few little, I gotta do little final touches on it, like some of these tighter areas that big buffer won't get into, and that's where I said that central pneumatic little 3-inch buffer, it gets in there and it'll polish her right up. But it almost looks like a different color when it's not buffed. There's the shiny to the not buffed yet. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it. Maybe I swayed some of you guys towards the dual action buffers. I really like them. I'll give you a walk around for those of y'all hadn't seen this car before. We've been building it for about 5 years. Like I said, we hope to get this thing out and cruising and enjoy it. These are the worst parts. If you guys have ever buffed louvers before, yeah, that's the worst part. Yeah, she's coming together. We fully built it in this 26 by 26 carport, basically. Enclosed carport garage, painted it, everything, molded the chassis, done the engine work, the welding, TIG welded everything up. Alright guys, hope y'all enjoyed this video on the Rupes Bigfoot 21 dual action polisher. Like I said, y'all saw it through it. It's pretty easy. I'm going to say it took about 30 minutes to what we've done on this 1/4 panel. So make sure you drop some comments below if you want to see anything different on the car or how to do something, try to help you out if I can. God bless. We got.